I have grief, if I have loss, if the holidays are a tough time for me, if I feel pain during this time of year, how can I channel this into something constructive, into something life-changing, so that I'm not dreading the holidays and I'm not threatened by them, but it becomes an opportunity for me, where all of a sudden, instead of being on my heels during the holidays and white-knuckling through it, suddenly I've got this in hand, and there's some truth to the statement from a cognitive behavior therapy perspective. Things are what we make of it. We can work to make ourselves miserable, or we can make ourselves joyful, somebody once said. The amount of work is the same. So, and so that applies to certain things. But what do I want this to be for me? I could not put up the lights and keep the tree down and sit in darkness, and I'm going to feel depressed. Or I'm going to realize, it's been a year, and just because I do this doesn't mean I'm forgetting them, and I put the tree up, and all of a sudden it's like I feel a part of me came back online again. So that's just one small example. But what about the disenfranchised losses? Also with the holidays, make sure we're not avoiding the cemetery. So many people that I work with that had complicated grief, or that were avoiding their grief process, avoided the cemetery. And it's not morbid going to a cemetery. And it's healthy to go there and pray, maybe say the Trisagian prayers. But that's often a good litmus test for where we are in the grief process. Can I go back to the cemetery and be okay? But if we're avoiding it, that's sometimes a red flag. And so this is a healthy time of year to go to the cemetery and make that a regular part of our grief journey. I always remember when my father passed away, my sister and we grieved very differently. We're a different personality, but she would always say to me, why do you, I guess I'm a priest, I guess that she didn't connect it to, I don't know. She said, why do you always go to the cemetery? Why not? To her, it was morbid. But to me, it gave me closure and peace. I couldn't visit him at his house anymore, but I could go to the cemetery. So I used that ritual to replace a previous one. It wasn't the same, but it helped a lot. And so here you have two siblings who grieve very differently. Okay? And so it's not, there's nothing wrong. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go all the time, but a good litmus test is, can I go to the cemetery and be okay? And I need to keep going until finally it doesn't knock my feet out from underneath me. And then we can ease off. But we want to make sure we're not practicing avoidance with that. But what if it's disenfranchised losses? What if there's family pain? What if there's a family member who I have not talked to for many years? And now there's this Christmas opportunity to reconnect with somebody. And that's part of our homework for this nativity season is I need to turn this to action. And we need to have those quiet, ruminative, introspective moments during this time of year where we sit and we let our minds and hearts travel to people we're missing, to those we've been separated from, to those we've taken for granted. And just let the Holy Spirit take us and come up with an action plan. Who am I going to reach out to? Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a visit, maybe it's our shadow falling on somebody's doorstep that it hasn't for many years, and saying, hey, we haven't talked in a while. I just wanted to say hello. I just wanted to see how you're doing. They'll know, especially this time of year. You do it in January or March, people might view it with suspicion a little bit. Oh, what are they up to? What do they want? But this time of year, there's a context for it. It's unspoken, but everybody knows it's the holidays. And it's very significant that they're thinking of me. This is the spirit of peace. It's the nativity spirit of reconciliation. And maybe it's an apology. Maybe it's a visit. Maybe it's a text message. Maybe it's a heartfelt text message, not something superficial. An email, a letter. Handwritten letters are very powerful. And just to bring life, this is the time of year to resurrect dead relationships. It's unnatural to have broken relationships in our life where we don't talk to people for years. And I understand that now if there's abuse, if somebody was abusive towards us, that's a different story. Then it's probably better to let sleeping dogs lie and just that one, there's an exception. But if there was a disagreement or a tragic falling out where it wasn't so cut and dry, someone's got to take the first steps. That is the true participation in the nativity spirit. Is how so it's that's the experiential way to experience the incarnation, is to do what God did and to humble ourselves and reach out with love and reconciliation. Maybe it's our own healing, our own internal healing, and maybe it's healing with others as well. And so, one story I always go to